It's the God in you. Thanks for listening to UBM Praise.
And we are back. You are tuned in to UBM Faith with Lady Rochelle and The Biz. And our battle of the day is the untold truth about cancer.
Welcome back, everyone. Lady Rochelle, I have another question for you to start off this second half of the hour. Actually, what were some of your treatment options?
Oh, wow. My treatment options were chemo, surgery, radiation, or I could have did nothing at all. I could have went without the chemo and just had the surgery and the radiation, but they wanted to shrink my tumors, and that was the reason for me doing radiation. So by the time I went into surgery and they put that little dye in me, in my breast, it was no more cancer there. It just went straight to my lymph nodes. So by the time they took out 16 lymph nodes, and one of them came back with like a pencil lid of cancer in it. So,
did you ever take that deep breath and just think to yourself, did you ever find yourself, maybe losing the faith at any time that it wasn't going to get better or things weren't going to turn out how they were supposed to?
Honestly, I never had that. I never thought God wasn't going to come through, only because he showed me myself. He showed me myself outside of my sickness. And I had a night where I was really sick, and I was in a lot of pain. My blood was low. I had to be hospitalized. I had to have a blood transfusion. And I just laid there crying, calling on the name of Jesus. And I've told this story many times. I read his promises back to him, and I just asked him to talk to me. I need to hear from him, and he did that night, and he gave me that sense of peace. And once I got that, I knew that everything was going to be all right. I think you always have in the back of your mind with a cancer diagnosis the word death. That's always in the back of your mind because that's all you associate it with, because that's all you hear. But I didn't let that overtake me because I don't know, he just gave me this peace. And once I got that, I knew that all I had to do was do my part and get through it. And I just asked him, I said, Lord, preserve me in front of my babies so I won't look sick. Preserve me, I didn't miss any days off work, only when I had my surgery. I mean, he carried me through that, and I'm just grateful.
Yeah, I understand. It's the consequences that we have to pay for, being that we're living between two voices. One telling you to give up, mm-hmm. and the other telling you to fight on. Mm-hmm. And I think, have you ever got to a point where you prayed for other people and it got better, and you prayed for your situation and it just got worse?
All the time.
And people just start to lose their faith when things aren't looking so good. You got to go back out on a limb. You got to keep the faith. You got to keep going. If there was a business that you had and you had to close it down and mm-hmm. it failed, keep the faith. Do it again. Yes. You don't want to do that. If you had goldfish before and they just kept swimming upside down mm-hmm. and you just refused to try. If love came along and it just disappointed you so much in mm-hmm. the past that you got tired of dealing with broken hearts,
right.
and it just got to a point where your love button was just broke, mm-hmm. and you didn't want to try it anymore. Mm-hmm. You start to lose the faith when things don't work out in the way that you see them. But that's all part of the mind. Those are all tactics, mm-hmm. and the devil, part of the devil's tools.
That's his tool. If he could get your mind, then he's got you. And I think sometimes even when you feel like you're losing your mind, that's where your support system come in. You need those positive people to feed into you. You need someone that you can go to when you're having a moment like that and say, you know what, I'm contemplating suicide. I want to die. I don't want to be here. That's when you need those people to surround you and breathe life into you when you no longer can, do that on your own. And that's why I say you can't go through this journey by yourself. It's impossible. You can't win by yourself. You need those people around you to pour that love into you.
And I believe we mentioned this every single show. You need a support system.
You do.
You need to surround yourself with positive people.
Mm-hmm.
And like I stated, you cannot have chaos going around you. Otherwise, you have chaos going on within you. You have to bring positive people into your circle, into your atmosphere. If people left you, there was a reason why they left you.
Exactly.
It was probably meant that they were not going to do you any good. Let them go.
Mm-hmm.
Leave them. Those things that you try to, whether it's material or whatever, that you try to hold on and preserve, it's not meant for you to take them with you. Let them go. I cannot stress and keep saying this over and over again. I don't know the difference between knowing what's best and doing what's best. You have to make better decisions about people and things.
That's true. You always come up with good analogies. I like that. I think that people need to get to a place to where they need to just appreciate life. Once you start appreciating life and everything around you, then those people will start to fall off because they're going to see that you're in a different place. And once they see that, they would know that they don't have a place in your life. And sometimes God has to get you to a place, and he has to put you through a test in order for you to come to him and depend on him. Because sometimes we get so involved with other people, we make them our God. And we know God is a jealous God. And he said, thou shalt have no other God before me. So he has to do what he has to do in order to bring you back to him. So if you worshiping, if it's a person, if it's a job, whatever it is, if you worshiping that person as a God, he will find a way to get your attention to bring you back to him so that he can be glorified in everything that you do.
Yep, you are absolutely right. And you can't go along with people who have egos and who are concerned more about their image.
Exactly.
More importantly, because we're all given a second chance to fix what was broken.
Yes.
So if you're not healthy, but you get a second start of eating healthier.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So those are clues like, look, I had to slow you down.
Yes.
I had to let you be still so you can understand.
I know.
You have to find that peace within yourself first before you can start living peaceful.
That's
so
true.
Definitely people. I cannot. We're gonna have to do a segment on just people, period, because it's just so much we can talk about people.
It is.
And like I said, that's one of the things that will break you down because you got people pulling you this way, you got people pulling you that way, and you don't know what to think, you don't know what to believe, and you, being that you are a believer, you can only believe what you see, and sometimes what you see is your perception can be off.
Mm-hmm.
You're looking through the eyes with dirty lenses, and you can't do that.
That's true. I believe I post on the page, it was by Benjamin Franklin. It says, believe none of what you hear and only half of what you see.
Yep.
So I just think we need to get to a place in God to where we're asking him to give us the spirit of discernment. So when people come into your life, he will reveal that person to you without them even opening their mouths. He'll let you know what their intentions are. And then you know how to act accordingly. And when people show you who they are, believe them.
Yep. And it's a shame that we're so loyal to people who has attached themselves to us who are just ineffective.
True.
They mean us no good. No influence, no inspiration, no experience. We got to value and appreciate the connections that God has put in our lives. And those people, we don't see the convenience of their connection, and they'll walk away. So we got to do more, as far as core values.
Yes.
We got to do better at hiring people who touch our lives. That's one thing, because when we bring these people into our circle, they're being brought in for a reason, and it could be dangerous.
Yes.
It depends on the person, though. It could be dangerous.
Not
Especially
only that,
if they're not connected to themselves.
Right, and not only that, they represent you. So if you're out and you have a brand out there, and you with these people and they're hanging around you, they always say birds of a feather flock together, and and a lot of people say no, that's not true. But if you hanging with this person all the time and all they doing is robbing, eventually you may end up doing the same thing. So you have to watch who you surround yourself with, and surround yourself with positive people that's going to pour positive stuff inside of you.
Right, because if you don't start making better connections in 2016, your 2016 going to look like 2015. Still going to be doing the same thing that you were doing, surrounded by the same people. Whether they're in your life, you'll be guilty by association, or you'll be one of them, birds of a feather flock together.
Right. And even when you see people doing wrong and you with them and you sit back and don't say anything, you're just as guilty for not opening your mouth. You're just as guilty. Yep. Toxic people out of your life. You have to rid your life of toxic people. You have to sit back and evaluate the relationships in your life and see where everybody fit in. Everybody has a category. And once you realize where they fit in, then you will know how to treat them, how to deal with them. And then you won't be disappointed. We have expectations on people. They be unrealistic. But if you know what role they play in your life, then you know what type of expectations to put on them. That's
right. Because if you get some people, they don't see the desire to serve anyone if it ain't you, if it's not about them. Why should you be blessed when all you do is think about you?
Right.
And wasn't set here to do, we were, I think in some of the commandments it say, love thy neighbor, love thy wife. Like, it don't mention anything about you. So people have to stop thinking about them all the time. You have to think about others. You got to be careful about what you say and what you do, because you never know who you could be hurting or who's watching.
Think about others. Pray for other people. And when you do that and God see that you're not selfish, then he'll begin to bless you. You'll begin to see the things that you desire come to pass.
Ooh, like I said, we're going to have to do a whole segment on just people and things.
We will. I had a question for you, Rizal.
Sure.
Okay. So, talking about the untold truth about cancer, going through seeing your wife and her transition from a healthy state, to cancer totally taking over her body. I know no one could have prepared you or told you anything of what was to come.
Correct. It was one day when we found out, when the dynamics of the situation changed, and that's when we found out she had brain cancer. And I was in the hospital, and I had been there for a couple days. It was Memorial Day weekend. And finally, 2 days in, and I finally got a break, and I went home. And when I got home, nobody was there. And to myself, when I got there, being the house was empty, and I had to think to myself, like, so this is what it would feel like coming home to an empty house if my wife made her transition. And it was a sad moment for me, because it was a cold feeling that I would never want to wish on my worst enemy. And it's hard to watch somebody metamorphosize into something that they're not. I knew that my wife was a strong warrior. I knew she was a fighter, and she was giving it everything that she got. And I'm very proud of her and her battle. And because of that, it's made me a strong warrior, and it's prompted me to help other warriors stay up and stay strong and continue on. But through the midst of it all, it was definitely a hard change to watch her go through what she went through, especially seeing her from a young teenage girl to the woman that she was. And I can say I wasn't prepared. I just took it day by day. I would talk to her. I would ask her questions about what she wanted and what she wanted to do. and we just